Ja, det gör vi. Hitta. This is like having kids. It's like stuff literally everywhere. In this last part of the series, I take the Xperia PRO-I to the mountains to shoot some crispy slow-motion footage. And before getting there, I have to travel across Sweden to my friend Teddy, who's kind enough to let me spend the night at his place before waking up at 4:30 to meet another friend. And you might already know him.
Hej. Allt bra med dig eller? Ja.
So look at how much snow it is. So we talked about this in the car, that this is the first time for both of us being in Norway in the winter. Incredibly beautiful. So as you saw in that sunset shot, by using something in the foreground can make like a regular static shot way more interesting. And you can use this in many different situations, like when you have a large field or a open sea or something. So by using something in the foreground can really up that shot and make it way more interesting, instead of just doing like the standard grandpa thing, like just filming the sunset as it is. It's actually insane, the light we're just experiencing. Like, seriously? Like, what's even happening? Is that? Choose dinner for tonight.
Vad har vi här då? Pasta bologna. We have another pasta bologna.
Cheers!
Cheers!
I guess we have to wait. I'm gonna try to find a cool backdrop. I think this will do. I've been having such a great time here in Norway with Peter. During these 2 days here in the mountains, we've been experiencing like all kinds of weather conditions you can. All from like sunny, extremely beautiful sunsets to moody, cloudy, rainy, snowy weather. I think that's a good thing when you're gonna shoot B-roll, because then you get a lot of cool different scenarios that looks great on camera, especially the snowflakes from yesterday. Like, you know, for my previous videos, I've been covering the photography aspect from the phone, but in this video, I thought I wanted to try out some B-roll, and it was a lot of fun. And what I really like about the Cinema Pro app is that you can use full manual control if you want to change like ISO or white balance, the shutter speed, which is a really important factor if you want that motion blur to be natural. That's something I really appreciate with the phone. So when you're shooting 120 FPS footage on the Xperia PRO-I, you have two options in Cinema Pro. Either you put the project in 24 FPS and the recording FPS in 120. And that way you get slow motion directly out of the phone. So the other option is to set the project to 120 FPS and record in the same frame rate. And in that way, you get the videos played back to you in real time. And with both options, you can change that in post by either speed up the footage or either slow down the footage. And I prefer to use the first option where you have the project in 24 FPS, because then you get a feeling directly when you film the shot how the shot is going to look in the final product. And it's easier to like redo and reshoot if something looks off. So we're waiting on the ferry to this other little village on the other side here. I wish we could just sit here and have the ferry all the way home. I think it's an 8-hour ride home to Strömstad, where my car is placed. And I have to drive 4.5 hours through Sweden home to my place. And yeah, you know, when you're traveling and when you are on your way home, you just want to get home. I wish I could like... So when shooting cinematic video, it's important to know what it is that's making it look cinematic. And one of the important factors to it is the shutter speed. So the faster the shutter speed, the less light is coming into the sensor and it makes the image darker. And in like general photography, you can crank up the shutter really fast, like 2,000 of a second, to be able to capture fast moving subjects and to decrease the light coming into the sensor. But in videography, there's a golden rule to the shutter speed that you need to follow to get the most cinematic look to your footage. This rule is called the 180-degree rule. So the general rule is to set the shutter speed to double your frame rate you're shooting at. So the Xperia PRO-I can shoot in 4K up to 120 FPS, which means that we should set the shutter speed to 1/240 for the most cinematic look. And here's a side-by-side comparison of how it looks with a faster shutter speed versus the shutter speed following this rule. So what if it's too bright for the shutter speed of 1/240 and the shot is overexposed? So the Xperia PRO-I has this great feature where you can close down the aperture from f2 to f4, just like a traditional lens, which limits a lot of light coming in. But then you might ask, why didn't I follow this rule in the shot you've seen in this video? The insane bright conditions we had in Norway is just too much for the aperture of f4 and the shutter speed of 1/240. And usually this is where an ND filter comes in. You can see it as sunglasses for your lens. But I didn't have any with me, so the only option I had was to crank up the shutter speed. Having an ND filter in your kit with you can really help you and up that cinematic look of your images. And another great feature inside of Cinema Pro is that you can shoot in full manual focus. You can also do a focus pull, which is when you set 2 points of focus and you can just switch between them with a single press of a button. And that is super handy when you want to do some moving shots with something in the foreground, then change the focus to the background. So if you want to know more about this phone's capabilities, I have a bunch of videos on my channel where I'm out testing it. So if you haven't seen those, go check them. Make sure to check out Peter's channels as well if you haven't. He's such a great dude with amazing content. So I want to say a huge thanks to you for watching this far into the video, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.